Boyfriend who won't stop comparing me to his dead wife. Hello. I, 29F. Understand the title is a little callous. But my boyfriend, 35M, won't stop comparing me to his dead wife. She passed 5 years ago, and they'd been married for about 2 years. She passed unexpectedly from a car crash is what I'm told. My boyfriend and I have been seriously dating since 2019, and moved in together this year. I moved into his home, the same one he had with her. Please understand, I have no ill will towards her. I just can't help personally feeling like shit every time she's brought up. I'm constantly being compared to her, and it feels like there are 3 people in this relationship. If I cook dinner, he tells me about how she had this perfect marinade. And oh how much he wished she told him about it. If I want to play any sort of co-op game with him, he brings her up and all the cute things she did in game. It's not even things she was better at than me. I accidentally stained a blue button up with bleach. He mentions how she once accidentally turned his whites pink. I hate it. I hate being here. My fucking heart hurts every time this happens. I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. I've brought it up to him so many times. That it hurts me. That it bothers me. And it goes either of 2 ways. He apologizes, but then continues to do it after a while. Or, he accuses me of being jealous, not letting him grieve and lament her passing. There was only one time where he directly compared us. It was when we first started going out, 6 months in I think, and we got into an argument and he said, she would have never done this. Why are you being so difficult? It fucking gutted me. He apologized later, and a bunch of our mutual friends mentioned how it was a slip in the heat of anger and that he still cares for the wife since she died so abruptly, recently. I just want to leave, but I can't help but feel that if I do, I'll be labeled as an overly jealous woman. He is not a private person. He airs out everything. And I also feel as if people won't be understanding? Like, she's dead. She won't be coming back. I just don't know how to break up with him. Do I lie? Do I say anything else? I have no idea. Too long did not read. Boyfriend keeps comparing me to his girlfriend to the point it bothers me. I want to break up but given his personality, I can't help but think he'll spread the reason behind the breakup around and I'll be negatively labeled. How to break up? You should leave. And it wouldn't be out of jealousy, it would be because he isn't over and or hasn't grieved properly for his late wife. Right now there are 3 people in the relationship, when there should only be 2. It's okay to leave. And yes, some people will judge, but some will know he wasn't ready. But most importantly, you deserve to be fully loved by someone who is ready. You are describing a man who is in love with another girl. By saying, she would have never done this, shows that he was not looking for a new relationship, consciously or not, but a substitute of his previous one. You should just tell him that you don't want to stop him from missing her, but you are looking for someone who are ready to embrace the future with you, and he isn't. I literally choked when I read the title. Oof. He needs to go to therapy. Losing your spouse so tragically is horrific and heartbreaking, but he needs to get help so he can move on. If she wasn't dead, then everyone would be on your side. He shouldn't be bringing her up all the time if it upsets you. He can talk about her to his family, his friends, a counselor, etc. if he wants to. He is, quite understandably, not over her. May never be. Leave. Just say you no longer want to be with him. You don't have to explain why. I am not happy is a valid reason. Focus forwards. I would definitely break up with him. You've explained that it bothers you countless times, and he's still doing it? I'm very sorry, but it sounds like he's not over her at all. You break up by telling him that you don't think he is ready to date again and that he needs time to grieve. Tell him you can support him as a friend, but that you're hurting too much in the relationship. Good luck. You deserve better, sis. He's still in love with her and you continue to move forward with him. This won't change at least for years. If you want to sit around being compared to an ex, then go ahead. But you deserve someone who can focus on you and only you. Right now, you're competing with someone deceased at that. Hard to compete with a memory. Don't be worried about what others will say, you have to look out for your own happiness. His mistake was thinking he's ready to get back into a relationship when what he really wanted was to not be alone. This is something he needs to realize instead of pushing all the blame onto you when things don't go well. He got mad that I masturbated in bed next to him. 29 female with 28 male. First off, I'm his first girlfriend and he was basically a virgin when we met, so he's still learning and all that. The other night we ate edibles and I got in the mood but told him I was on my cycle and he kept saying it would be messy and weird and my flow was heavy, so I was like, okay, I may just take care of this myself, so I did. In my last relationship neither of us cared. Sometimes you just wanna rub one out, ya know? Well, he took it to heart. Said he felt emasculated and it messed with his head. He didn't say any of this until 2 days later when we were drinking at the bar with friends and it led to an argument. He said it's fucking with his ego that I did it right next to him and didn't ask him to help, and I was like, I did, but you said it'd be messy. Well, you didn't have to do it right next to me. I honestly don't see the problem and never had this issue with anyone I've seen or dated. Most men find it attractive, or so they've said. I'm also unfortunately one of those people who can't climax without toys, so we usually have sex and once he finishes we make out and I climax with a toy. The toys make him very uncomfortable and I think it's due to lack of experience. I'm very open about my sexuality and have had dozens of partners to the extent I'm basically desensitized to certain topics. I brought up getting an extender a while back and at the time he said it was fine, but I think he was lying. I'm not sure what to do. I want him to feel comfortable. I want to be able to masturbate in my bed. Lol. I also want to have sex with my partner and have him know he's adequate, but the female body is complicated. Just because you used to masturbate next to your ex doesn't mean you should just do it in every new relationship. It's something you should discuss before you do it. If he's uncomfortable with it, then you need to respect that and either go to another room or wait until he's left. I don't particularly understand his reasoning, although I do personally find it quite strange. But if he doesn't like it, then he doesn't like it and you should respect that. Not everyone is going to feel the same way about different sex acts. That's why you need to make sure you have enthusiastic consent from someone before involving them as a participant or a spectator. Logistically speaking, if you need your bed, you should be very clear and give your partner a choice to leave before you start. If this guy is still learning, he might lack confidence and put up with stuff he doesn't feel comfortable with. That means you need to be even more careful and responsible, since you're more experienced. Don't be coercive and disrespectful and tell him that's normal. Be better than that. You keep saying that your exes used to let you do that, but you're not dating your exes, are you? You should have clear boundaries, and if he doesn't like you doing that, then you should respect that. Also, I presume he took the extender comment as he has a small PP. It doesn't matter what you think of how big it is. What matters is what he thinks. I assume what he heard was, I wish you had a bigger PP, but I could be wrong, of course. Also, you said you want him to know he's adequate. No one wants to be adequate. You can't masturbate in front of somebody without their consent. It doesn't matter if the majority of people think you're right and wrong. But the majority of men would be insulted if you suggested a penis extender. What matters is how he feels about it. He's hurt, and that should be your focus, how to fix that and respect how he feels. It's not about sexual experience. I'm very experienced, yet if my man jacked off in bed next to me after I said no to sex, I would be so upset. He would never even do that out of respect. You don't respect your man and you're knocking his confidence, for sure. Damn girl, you're even shaming dude in your post. Go to another room or something. Seems like you dangle your sex count over his head enough. Take it easy and try and see it from his point of view a little harder. I am missing a little context here. Did you ask if it was okay for him if you masturbated? Did you say anything or did you just start? I think it's completely fair for a partner to masturbate if the other one isn't in the mood, whatever. But you either need consent or do it alone. There's so many things wrong with this post. Lol. My husband's best friend. My husband, 35 male, and I, 34 female, are good friends with another couple. Let's them Phil and Betty. We often stay at their place and go camping together, etc. My husband and Phil have really hit it off and are best mates. Often Phil comes camping without Betty. We recently went away for the weekend with Phil and his dad came along too. On the first night we all let loose and had a few drinks. Nothing out of the ordinary except I had some ouzo where I'd normally drink wine. Anyway, Phil hit on me. He slid his hand up my top. I moved away before he got anywhere, so he only touched my waist. He repeatedly said that we were going to have some fun together later. I didn't feel threatened by him, just uncomfortable. I love my husband, plus he's my husband's best mate. I laughed it off and put some space between us. Later he was joking around and sat on my lap. I said quietly that he needed to behave as my husband as his best friend. This seemed to hit home and he stopped. The next day he said all day that he couldn't remember anything from the night before. I don't believe him. I just got the vibe that he knew what he'd done. I won't tell my husband as I think it was a once-off and it would break my husband's heart. I just needed to get this off my chest. I'm also struggling with it as when he touched me it felt so good. My husband has a really low libido and we don't have sex very often. I could never cheat on my husband, but damn, I wish we would have sex more often. I want to clear the air with Phil, but we've since just acted like nothing happened. Is it best to just leave it this way? What if he does it again? You need to tell your husband before Phil reframes the story with you as the aggressor or something like that. If he would betray his best friend like that, what makes you think he wouldn't throw you under the bus in a heartbeat to save his own skin? It's up to your husband if he wants to keep being friends with someone like that. Would you rather he lose trust in Phil, for his own damn actions, or you for keeping something like this from him? Honestly, your mention of how good it felt and your husband's low libido makes it sound like you're already starting to work on justifying it to yourself. If you say nothing to your husband, and continue to hand out with him, he will test the waters again. I would tell your husband. He can know his best friend as a pos. Guy here, happy person, tell your husband. He needs to know what his best friend is capable of. If he finds out on his own in the future, he might feel some sort of betrayal from you as well for not telling him. Tell your husband. This is not your fault, it's entirely Phil's. Not doing so invites a repeat of this behavior. Also, let Betty know. Do you not want to tell your husband, as that will result in Phil not coming around anymore? And you don't want that? Also, he will do it again. From his perspective, you have just given him a green light by hiding it from your husband and his wife. Be honest with yourself. Tell your husband. My girlfriend, 20F, doesn't like when I, 21M, follow traditional gender roles. Maybe gender roles isn't exact way to phrase it, but you'll understand in a minute. There's certain things that I was taught about how to treat and handle a woman. My girlfriend doesn't seem to like when I do it. We've been dating for about 6 months, and with all that's happening we haven't really gotten many chances to get out, so some of these things didn't come up often. I'll just give 2 examples of what I'm talking about. So the other day went for a walk. We started off and we walk a little bit before I moved to the street side. She asked me why I did that and I just said because I'm supposed to. She brushed that off until it happened again, and I told her that I was just taught to walk on the street side of the sidewalk when with a woman. She said she didn't like me doing that intentionally. Another thing is, we went to eat in this small diner and I got distracted when we sat down and she took the seat facing the door. I told her we had to switch, and when she asked why, I told her it's because I was taught that the man should face the door. We sat down and talked about this one day and she said that she didn't like it and thought it was a bit misogynistic and patronizing. I told her it wasn't like that and I was just being a gentleman like how I was taught. It's hard not to do those things for. It's make me uncomfortable not to these things amming other things. Is there a way we can compromise, maybe go about it differently? I was taught that the man should face the door. Huh? If you're doing something for someone else but they don't want you to, you're no longer doing it for them, you're doing it to them, or at best for yourself. It's not the right way to treat a woman if the woman you're doing it to, for doesn't like it. Respect her as an individual rather than assuming women are some homogeneous block who all want to be treated a single way. To me it's a tell that you say you were taught how to handle women. It's not 1952, buddy. Chill out. Treat her as an equal, not an other. You may feel like you have to, but you don't. She asked you not to and made it clear she's uncomfortable with it. She doesn't appreciate it. Why not just listen to her? Switching seats would be annoying. Like, what are you going to do? Shoot the intruder? Save her? Do you know why you do these things? Lots of thoughts in these comments. Gentle person behavior is about respect. She's asking you to respect her preferences. You ultimately want to show her respect. You can do that by honoring her requests. I've literally never been told that gentlemen do this. I'm guessing she hasn't either. Respect what she says. A true gentleman would do so. I think continuing behaviors that you know your partner is uncomfortable with is the complete opposite of what a gentle person would do. I have heard of the walking on the street side thing and my partner does that and I appreciate that he does, but if she's not into, then don't do it. I have never ever heard of the whole, men sit facing the door, thing. Also, personally speaking, I love getting photos, so I will often strategically choose my seat, so I'd be pretty angry if you then made me change seats for your outdated rule. Regardless of her reasoning, if she's not into it, don't it. Sue, ultimately I think that this phrase sums up both of these. If she isn't into it, don't do it. Simple.